Hello, Vera. It is so nice to see you. How are you?
I'm very well, Manda. How are you?
Yeah, I'm perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving time for just a quick chat. I'm doing a few of these with people, asking them what their experience of the last year has been and what their hopes are for the next year. So for you and for your team and for Bath overall, it's been a very peculiar year, hasn't it? What's been your experience?
It's been certainly very difficult, and I think I probably echo a lot of people when I say when we first did this last year in the spring and in this, towards the summer, and it was something completely new. People were probably sort of looking at it as a little bit of a curious experiment. And then as we have progressed through the last 12 months, particularly the last lockdown has been very, very challenging. The weather, the repeat of it, the extra financial worries that a lot of families and people have been facing, the reality that we have lost many, many people, and many people have lost loved ones and have been affected as a family by the loss of life or severe illness. And one has heard more and more from friends and families about some really sad stories. The bigger the toll has been on people.
I completely agree, and that's been a common theme from a lot of people who we chatted with, that this third lockdown has really been the one that has really pushed people to the edge, either financially or mentally or emotionally, and the support circle's just not there. I know you've done an awful lot of work with Baines 3SG, the Community Compassionate Hub, and they've done brilliant stuff, haven't they? I think Bath's in a better place because of them and the work we've all done with them. What was your experience of that?
Yes, I think, of course, we should always try and look on the bright side of life, although it is a little bit gloomy where we currently are. But there have been some good things about lockdown and finding ourselves reduced to our very common humanity and re-evaluate what is important in life that maybe in the business of pre-lockdown times we have forgotten about. For example, the appreciation of nature. I know during the winter that's a bit more difficult, but certainly in the summer everybody seemed to have appreciated a wonderful walk in the park, hearing the bird song again, all of that we might have sort of lost to appreciate. And then similarly, very much we have refound friends, we have refound our neighborhoods, we have refound compassion and how we want to look out for each other and help each other. And Baines 3SG and the Compassionate Community Hub has been very much at the center of that effort, including the council, including lots of partners. And that has been actually brilliant to see. And I visited them in this short window that I had when I could do some socially distanced physical visits. I visited them in July and saw how different services were all under one roof. And everybody said the same thing, how they'd been talking about this for many years, how much that would be beneficiary to all work together, and how actually the COVID pandemic had finally made them realize what they had been thinking they should be doing for a long time.
It is weird, and I'm exactly with you. You don't want to find any words that make it look like the pandemic was a good thing, because obviously it has just destroyed so many people's lives. But there have been a few cores of things that we can take forward with us, as you say, appreciation for nature, for the community, the things that have got us through this bit. It'd be really sad if we lost it, I think, when we're going forward.
And new working practices, to be quite honest. My team works remotely. A lot of that is really hard. That has definitely taken a toll on mental health. And I would be dishonest if I didn't say I find this a challenge. I prefer to be with people in the room. Communication with my two teams. So I've got a team in London in Parliament, and then I've got my team here in Bath. The communication is just so much more bulky and difficult for each thing. You just have to pick up the phone or arrange a Zoom meeting where otherwise you could have just met, just hop over into the other room, or in Parliament, certainly, also with parliamentary colleagues, where you just meet what people call in the corridors of power. It's not necessarily the corridors of power, it's the corridors of communication. You just see somebody, how human interaction is. Oh, while you're there, can I just have a quick word type of thing, whether that be with other members from another political party, which can be sometimes useful, or whether that be with your own party colleagues. So yes, it's been challenging, but also we have found that actually remote working can work. I think as a combination with physical working. I wouldn't want us in the team to continue to work remotely forever. It really is difficult, but people might have we can go forward with more flexible solutions. Not everybody needs to be in the office at the same time. And particularly bigger employers, I think, are already looking much more at a more flexible model of working from home and needing to go in the office. And another thing I would say is the amount of travel that you can cut down on. I lead for the Liberal Democrats a climate cluster in Parliament. And previously, it would have been very difficult to get other councillors who were coming in from across the country. The original idea is to work together across the two houses, so members of the House of Commons and members of the House of Lords, but we have brought in more councillors from across the country. Now, they couldn't come in easily at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning, but now they can because they just zoom in. And that gives us a much wider dimension of what council colleagues face in different parts of the country, sharing things, but also where it's different. So these sort of things, I'm sure other organizations have also found is a benefit.
I think you're right. It seems to be another slightly common theme that what is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. We've been forced into doing things differently. And you and I think, have only met once this year for one actual physical do, because we've had to do everything separately. Doesn't mean that we've not been working hard. Doesn't mean that we've got that. And I've had the same experience in that we've got our twin towns, and we've had meetings where a lot of people from the twin cities have been able to dial in and watch it, where otherwise they wouldn't have been able to. So there is an accessibility in a different way. And picking up your point as well, because I know it's something that you're very passionately keen on about, working in an office. There is something quite nice, especially if you're female and you finish a meeting at 10 o'clock at night. If actually you finishing the meeting means you then shut your iPad and you go and get yourself a cup of tea, as opposed to have the thought process about how do I now get home safely. So there are lots of implications about maybe, as you say, going forward, as not assuming that every bit of work has to be office based, but a bit like you, I like people too. It is sad to not actually see them. And again, the number of times that you would say something in passing to someone where you wouldn't necessarily think to pick up the phone and tell them. So communications has been harder. And you moved office in the middle of all this, so you've achieved an awful lot.
Well, we are back where Don Foster used to be in James Street West. So far, constituents haven't been able to see our new offices, but hopefully all of that will start again. And it is where the local party is also based. So again, for partnership working, I think it's brilliant if we are all physically going to be together. That was sort of the idea, really, that although we weren't very far apart, but even just around the corner, if you're not in the same building, sometimes the communication is that little bit harder. And so let's wait and see. But I have a lot of good hopes for the future for that partnership working, and hopefully a lot of constituents coming into the office can come again and are very welcome to join us there. I would say lockdown has made it particularly difficult for my surgeries, because I think for a lot of difficult conversations, and many of the people who are coming to me often want to share something difficult and hard. It is that much more difficult if you have to do that remotely rather than being in a room together, where you can create much more human contact in that way than you can ever over a device.
Yeah, I feel for you. It must be very, and as you say, there are lots of people who the need to be able to reach out and talk to people has been quite high at just the time when we've not been able to do it in a physical setting. So yes, totally appreciate that. So if you had your crystal ball handy, Wera, what do you think? What do you feel the next few months holds for you, for Bath, for your team? What are you envisaging happening?
So first of all, we have done very well as a country, but I'm sure other countries will catch up. So I don't want to sort of do this, oh, haven't we done well thing in comparison to other countries. But I think globally that a vaccine has been found as part of an international partnership of people working together, finding different vaccines and sort of handing them out to people, has been a human triumph, really, in many ways, a triumph of science, and clearly a sign of partnership working, and how only in partnership with other countries and global cooperation can we solve the pandemic. And hopefully other countries will catch up with vaccinating their citizens, because only if everybody, or as many people as possible, are being vaccinated can we beat the pandemic. I had my vaccine on Tuesday.
I was
very glad
I was one day ahead of you, Wera. I was Monday.
Well, there you go. So
were you at the pavilion?
I went to the pavilion,
yeah.
And very professionally, very well done. No waiting times, very friendly. And I have to say, I was quite dozy the next day, so I had some sort of little side effects, like a bit of a headache and feeling very, very lethargic for 24 hours. Different people have got different side effects. But I think it is worth pointing out to people that it is probably a vaccine that, because it is, fighting a very severe illness, probably the vaccine itself takes a bit of a toll out of your body. At least that's my experience, and it's been repeated a lot. So, but that shouldn't put you off.
No.
Take the vaccine. The benefits of being vaccinated are hugely outweighing the risks that in other countries people are talking about. The risks. It's their choice. I think some countries want to be more open about it, but they might have the backlash of people then worrying more about it. It is, again, I don't want to create that culture of war and that competition between other countries. I think we should celebrate that here in the UK we are doing well. Other countries are hopefully going to catch up, because only if we are all vaccinated as much as possible globally will we beat the pandemic. And here is the difficulty. I hope that this will allow us to open up more and gradually come out of the severe restrictions that we had to face in the last 12 months. But a third wave is always on the cards. We shouldn't be complacent. France is locking down again, as I hear, from today or tomorrow onwards, because there are variants of the virus that can possibly not be protected against by the vaccines that we currently have. So from a public health point of view, I'm sure a lot of scientists and medics and epidemiologists are really quite concerned that we might have to live with some form of COVID over many years, and we need to understand how we contain this and how we protect people. So my prediction, or my hope, is that yes, by the summer we'll see hopefully a return back to some sort of normality, and that we can enjoy the city again, enjoy events that are being put on, socially distanced probably for a while, and that if we're lucky, we're escaping another wave and another serious mutation of the virus that then will throw us back again. So fingers crossed. It depends on us a little bit. I think we all need to be cautious. We all need to follow the rules. Social distancing is something that we have learned with difficulties, because it's just not normal to sort of stand away from people at 2 meters. It's just not a human normal distance. But I think it was for a good reason. And while we are still asked to follow the rules of social distancing, all face coverings, please, people, follow the rules.
Very, very, very wise words, Wera. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. And it is my pleasure to say, on behalf of the City of Bath, thank you to you for being our MP and the MP's team for all the work you have continued to do during this period, and I'm sure will absolutely continue to do when we come out of it. So thanks again, Wera, really appreciate it.
Well, and thank you to you and for the opportunity for this conversation.